So with the Corroseal, I'm just using a little paint trim cup. You can just get a cheap little brush. It's gonna get used. You're gonna be smashing it in tight little spots. So I mean, I wouldn't worry about getting anything too crazy. This stuff you can get at Amazon. Just look up Corroseal rust converter, and it'll pop right up. It's 59, 60 bucks is about what it runs. Whenever you're applying this, make sure it's cleaned up. You know, if you use soapy water to clean it or whatever, make sure everything's dry, cleaned off. Make sure there's no dust on it. You get the heavy stuff off, because whenever you put the stuff over it dries, but there's still rust underneath those thick clumps. So just, I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect. The only reason I'm smoothing it out and going crazy on this side of the frame is because this is going to be the most visible side. On the top, like I said, I just knocked off the heavy stuff. I smoothed it out a little bit just because I in particular wanted it, you know, cleaner than that. So like I said, after it's cleaned off and everything, ready to go, I got a rag, got the dust, everything outside of it, and then I came with the Corroseal. And the first layer you put on, from everything that I've seen and reading the directions, it says to kind of put it on a little bit heavy. I think you're supposed to wait about 15 minutes between coats, put on at least 3 coats. The main failure with these, from the reviews and stuff like that I've read, people will not clean or prep the surface at all. A lot of people were using these wire brushes, and there's nothing wrong with using these. The only thing with it is it'll burn up like the paint, or you know, anything on there. You'll kind of notice it'll get like glazed over because this is going so fast. It burns up and it doesn't really have anything to grab onto. So from what I saw is you can hit it with that wire wheel, knock off all the heavy stuff, and but once it starts burning like that, just grab some sandpaper. I'm using 80 grit. I just got this from Walmart. It's cheap. So I just kind of go this and I hit it over real quick just to kind of smooth it out, give it something, a little bit of a texture so that it can grab and bond a little bit better. But other than that, that's pretty much all I've gone through with it. Over here you can see I've already started again on this side, already put the second layer. The first one was thick on here, and as the further you get in there, the less you have to start using paint. This I just put on a few minutes ago, and it's super milky like glue, and then you put it on and it reacts with the rust and it just turns it black. So it's white and it turns black as soon as you put it on. But here's that first layer. You can kind of see it right there. It's already doing its work on this. Here's the before and after, like I showed you earlier. And once this sets up, it'll be completely black. I mainly use the grinding wheel. This was for like the heavy stuff that I couldn't really get with the wire brush. I was either using this right here for kind of tight spots. It was really good, you know, getting between bolts and stuff like that. So a wire brush there, a hand wire brush, and then you can also get the mini wire brushes for getting in those really tight nook and crannies. I was looking more for this texture right here, where it was smoothed out. It wasn't crazy smooth. I mainly wanted this to be the smoothest part because this is what you're mainly going to see up here. I kind of just cleaned it up, which that Corroseal that I have is going to cover this up. And the way that I do it is I don't want to have to go back and redo this. If you guys have taken off a bed, it's not that it's super hard, you know, it's just that you don't want to have to take off a bed and get underneath there. I also recommend replacing your hoses. I replaced this axle hose, this breathing tube, replaced that one. It was 75 cents a square foot. This was like, I think $1 a square foot. So I mean, I spent a total of, you know, I don't know, like $8, you know, on hoses. Replace them from any dry rot, because if those were to go bad, you had to pull off the cab to the bed and then go ahead and replace them. So like I said, check out your breather hoses that run to your axles, check out your hoses on your gas tanks and replace those if you already have it up. What I mainly did on this, like I said, was smooth this out. The inside there, all I did was go in there with a wire brush, a wire wheel, and kind of cleaned up the axle. You can still see that there's a decent amount of surface rust on there, but it's nothing heavy. A lot of the stuff that was accumulated underneath it was from the previous owner from me a few years back. They went through, sprayed it with that underlining coating. They just sprayed over rust, and that's the only reason this was really that hard. So like I said, I recommend just going through, do it right the first time, make it smooth or as best as you can, and then go over with Corroseal. So on the Corroseal, I tested 3 spots last night. I put one spot, you know, where I sanded it down with some surface rust. A second spot that was just a rusty, you know, I didn't clean the crust off. I just kind of cleaned it off with a rag real quick. And then a third spot with no cleaning at all, you know, no debris, no rag, nothing. So first is clean, second is, you know, halfway clean, and the third one's just dirty. And I'll show you the spots. So right here, this is the clean spot. It's actually smooth. It came out pretty good. You know, I kind of scratched it up a little bit here to see what it kind of looked like underneath, but it held up really good. It seems sturdy, and this is just one coat. I haven't added the 2 coats yet. This right here is dirty. You know, I kind of just cleaned it off with a rag, but you can tell I didn't clean off any of the heavy debris on here. I kind of scraped away at it, and easily that rust was just coming right through. And then this was the spot not cleaned at all. You can see where it didn't really take up right. See, it's already like peeling off, you know, from not cleaning it off correctly. The reason I kind of did that right there was just to kind of show how well it held up. Obviously, the spot that I sanded and knocked off the heavy residue held up the best and it looked the best. I'm not sure if you can see in videos, but you know, the first one, it was a little bit smoother. It looked like it held on better when I kind of scratched at it. The second one, I could scratch it and it would peel a little bit, but was still kind of rough. And the third one was just rough all around, just barely scratching away at it with my finger, was popping off pieces. But I'm gonna go through the rest of this frame. We're gonna hit everything underneath this truck. Everything underneath the truck is gonna be hit. Just kind of covered it to keep away like extra moisture and stuff like that. The frame is pretty much done. I got that spot back. This just needs the surface rust knocked off, and the same thing on that, and then we'll be ready to go. So I'll show you guys a little bit before and after, but I think that Corroseal is definitely going to be a win. So it says to make sure this stuff's mixed up really well. So I've been shaking it for a minute, so I'm gonna go ahead, put it in our deal. But like I said, it comes out milky. And it actually smells like Elmer's. So it's milky, it smells like Elmer's glue. It says to use gloves, so make sure to use gloves because this stuff does not come off. I just got back from the store and I got all my stuff and I forgot gloves, so I don't really have time for that. Anyway, so it says put it on pretty thick. We cleaned off the residue. We went in, cleaned off any type of dust as well, and we're gonna put it on kind of heavy. This will actually leave like brush strokes and everything, so if you are looking for a super clean, you know, paint finish with no issues, I mean, this, you're definitely going to see strokes. Heavy spots where some of this stuff is settled, you'll be able to see where it's pretty thick. Already, as we're putting this on, you can see it's turning black, and it's crazy because it comes out white, and when it's done, it's black like that. You can already see right here, it almost looks purple. It's like a purplish black, and it's already reacting with that metal. The great stuff about this, I think, is in these spots, you know, that you don't want to have to go back into for a long time and hit, it protects it again. And that's the main thing that I want. I just want protection so it's not super nasty. I do not want to have to come in here. So like I said, I'm going to put 3 full coats on it, and we'll fast forward to that spot, but you can see right here, I already hit it, it's turning black, and we'll fast forward here in 15 minutes. So there's that, and I know in the video it looks clumpy, like, you know, this looks like residue. This is actually just where the rust sat, and it actually started like eating into this cross member. But this is smoothed out, all the heavy stuff is knocked off. This is, like I said, just kind of where it was eaten away. It's kind of like just grooved into it, but everything's smoothed out. Even with this on it, you can just feel it. It's very smooth. That side's dried up. I've put 2 coats on that. This one's starting to set up. I'm gonna give it a few more minutes. It's a dark purple. You can see black spots on it. That's setting up right there. She's going through we're cleaning it off, making sure we're getting any debris, anything like that cleaned off of it. I already went through on this side, and I'm just putting it on the top. I might put one coat on this. I'm gonna hit with some paint. I'm not gonna go with a gloss. I just want a matte black look. That's what I'm looking for. I just kind of want a matte black. My frame, you know, I'm never gonna get it perfectly smooth, so I just kind of want a matte color so it looks good, because with gloss, if you just miss one tiny little spot, you know, one imperfection, it'll reflect and you can see it in the gloss. So like I said, on the frame, the leaf springs, the spots like that, I'll go through and clean them, and I'm going to hit that with a matte. I'm mainly just worried about the top and the inside of the frame, so I don't have to worry about ever going back in there and hitting it again or having to clean it up. But like I said, there's that first coat. It's already put on, and we're going to go through, clean it up, and here's a little time lapse. So everything has got one coat on it, and I like how it's looking. It seems to level out actually pretty decently, and it's looking pretty good. Like I said, it's crazy because, you know, this right here is before I haven't touched this. I'm still sanding this part down, so I've only hit the top spot. But like I said, it levels out pretty decently right here. Like I said, I know it looks clumpy in the video, but it's just kind of grooves on where it kind of ate through, you know, the rust kind of nestled in or whatever. But I mean, it's looking pretty good. It looks like it's leaving a nice matte finish. Oops, it was still a little wet. A nice matte finish on top. Got inside of here. The thing I didn't know about these things is they're actually hollow. Mine were full of dirt, but luckily, you know, nothing had eaten through on this. We went through, hit all the inside here, the back side, ran it around, inside the axle, inside the frame, my bad. And you can still see the dark spots that are drying. We're gonna go ahead, hit it with another coat, just to kind of cover it up. We're gonna put 3 coats total. That spot up there has already been hit, so we're gonna just finish it off with that. On that second coat, and it's already looking good. I actually went ahead and I did hit the frame. I figured why not? So I went through, sanded down the frame, and I put 1 coat on it. I'm probably gonna go ahead, do the same thing on the frame, put the entire 3 coats, and that I'm probably gonna, just like I said, go over with matte. If it looks good the way it does, I might not have to touch it, but like I said, I know it leaves brush strokes. That's still setting up. I put the second coat on this, so it just needs 1 final coat. I went over here on this side. Like I said, since I decided to end up doing the frame, I sanded down the entire frame. Those bunch of rough spots, I actually had a test spot over here that I tried some paint on, ended up dripping. So good thing the good thing is I was able to sand that all down. That's nice, that's very smooth. So like I said, we're gonna go ahead, hit that, put that other coat on it, and by the next time you guys see this clip, I'll have this all dried up and it'll be tomorrow morning. So overall, with this Corroseal, like I said in the beginning, it's a lot about making sure that the surface is prepped. There was a few spots that we cleaned and we could see where we didn't clean out all the way, and there were some fish eyes where the oil was kind of separating the Corroseal. I think on top of that, after watching some videos and everything, you're not supposed to leave just bare metal on the truck. It kind of needs that rust to convert it into a paintable surface. So grinding it down or sanding it down completely to bare metal, which normally you would do for paint, won't really work that well for this. Not saying you need to leave heavy pieces of rust, but knock it down enough to where there's just slight surface rust. If you are trying to paint this on your frame for a clean show truck finish, that's not gonna work unless it's like in a hidden spot like behind your frame or something in that sort,
because, as I said earlier, it leaves brush strokes. Now I'm hoping that with the 3 layers that I put on the face of the frame that you can actually see that is visible, I'm able to kind of just give it a light sand, smooth it out, and just hit it with the primer so that it kind of gives it another coat on top of it for extra protection. On a scale of 1 to 10 for this product, I'll give it about a 7.5, 8. The only reason I don't give it a straight 10 is because, like I said, it would be awesome if you could make it super smooth, or, you know, it will maybe level out a little bit better, but a product can only go so far. You can't expect it to do all the work for you. I do have high hopes for this product lasting, just because the reviews on Amazon, if you go and look it up, it's got 4,000 reviews and it's still got 4.5 stars. So I still have very high hopes for this. I don't see why this product won't last. And like I was saying, this stuff is non-toxic and it doesn't leave like a super nasty odor. It is definitely bearable, is also non-toxic. So those are a bunch of pluses and things to look into, but I would definitely recommend checking them out, test it out for yourself, and kind of see how you like it. If you guys have any other questions, I try to cover everything in this video as much as I could. Comment below, let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you saw me do something wrong, if you got any tips, so in the future I can also address it in another video whenever I go to use this stuff. This gallon went a long way. I was able to do 3 coats on half of this frame, and I only used about a quarter or so, maybe a little more than a quarter of it. So I think it went a pretty good distance just for the amount that I was using on top of those 3 layers, especially some spots that I laid it heavy. But thank you guys for watching the video. I appreciate you for checking it out. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what you guys want to see, what you want to hear, and thanks for watching.